Then, hi, I'm Doug Newcomb. I am retired, so I have no one that I'm representing, to tell you the truth. But this is the July version of the Carolina GIS Coffee Break. And today we've got three presentations. We have Melanie Williams giving a presentation on what's going on with GIS in North Carolina from the state's perspective. We have Bernie talking about well, some work he's been doing with GA maps. And then, okay, thank you. And then I'll give a presentation on plugins in QGIS. We were going to have a presentation by Cameron Bodine on the Ping Mapper software for side scan sonar. Cameron unfortunately had to deal with a work event that came up suddenly this week. So we're going to reschedule him for some time later in the year. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Melanie, who has been with the state in a GIS capacity with DEQ and now with CGIA, I believe.
Yep, that's right.
All right. So take it away and let us know what's going on with the state.
All right, thanks, Doug. My name is Melanie Williams. I have been with CGIA for about 6 months now. Just moved over from Division of Environmental Quality, where I was there for about 17 years working with their River Basin program and with GIS. So I'm going to turn off my camera and share my screen. Right, and give me 1 second. Sorry, I can do this in like 2 seconds in Teams, but Google Meets is a little bit slower. I apologize.
Don't worry about it. We're used to it by now.
All right.
So you'll find it at the bottom where the square with the arrow in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, then you want to pick your entire screen to share.
Okay, let's get to the right place. And there we go. Can you guys see that?
Yes, we can.
All right. Okay, so like I said, I am with CGIA, and we are nested under NC DIT within the state. So CGIA is the staff support to what we call the Geographic Information Coordinating Council. And this council is comprised of several different representatives from federal, state, and local governments, as well as the private sector. And each of these members are appointed by either the governor or the Senate or House Representatives. And the main purpose of this council is to kind of help guide GIS standards and initiatives throughout the state to kind of meet everyone's needs, right? So all GIS users across the state. So they are looking at developing better data governance, coming up with standards for everyone to follow or to aim towards, helping coordinate amongst all of these different groups and agencies, then prioritizing what initiatives and projects may be developed, and then actually doing some of the data development through some of our working groups. So the council has several different committees that are part of the council's initiatives. So we have users groups, and these are mostly our federal, state, and local user groups that meet quarterly to discuss all sorts of fun GIS stuff. And then we also have our technical groups. So we have our TAC, and then what I'll kind of go through more in depth today is products developed from our SMAC, our statewide Mapping Advisory Committee. And then all of it is kind of managed and overseen by a management operation committee that just kind of helps us move along through all of our initiatives. So the statewide Mapping Advisory Council or Committee is actively working on several different things. And to do that, they have come up with these individual groups that work on all of these various initiatives. And these groups, again, have representatives from all the folks in the GICC so that we make sure that we're getting the best product that we can. So none of these are solely completed or developed by CGIA. It is a huge group effort by a ton of people to pull all of this stuff together and get it updated on a regular basis. So we'll kind of take a look at some of these data products and initiatives and kind of see where we are in the process for some of these things. We'll start with seamless parcels. This is probably one of our most viewed data sets. It's got just massive amounts of data in it, and it is a very large cooperative effort amongst all of the municipalities and local governments throughout the state. All of that data, those folks are feeding up to CGIA, and then CGIA packages it all together in one big data layer and pushes it out to host out to the public. So what's happening with this now is that the local governments try to update this data either monthly, quarterly, or at least twice a year. And this will, it really depends on the local governments themselves as to how quickly this stuff is updated. But we have really great participation with all of it. And we are actively, CGIA is actively switching over to a new process that will make it a little bit easier for municipalities to upload their data. However, it is a very new project. Like it is just being implemented right now. So if you see a little quirky stuff happening here and there, that may be just because of this new update process. But local governments are awesome at reaching out to CGIA if anything goes wrong. So we'll get those things kind of ironed out fairly quickly, I hope. Ortho imagery and elevation data. We'll take a look at kind of the ortho imagery cycle. We are in the 4th year of the cycle. Currently, we are working on the yellow counties for 2026. And if I have a timeline here, currently they're in imagery production phase, and then hopefully we will be in the delivery phase by the end of the year, and those will be available on NC OneMap. Hydrography, this is one that I personally am really excited about, mostly because of my background, but it's really exciting that this particular data set is actively being updated. There will be a much more detailed, much more functional, much more user-friendly data set that will be coming out hopefully within the next year. They are in their final phases of making sure that the schema is what it needs to be, and that the two primary agencies that are working on this are transportation and environmental quality. And so they are working together to come up with frequently asked question documentation, making sure that metadata is correct, final hosting places, all of that sort of thing. So the amount of data that is going to be attached to the hydrography data is massive. So hopefully that will be wrapped up by at least the end of 2027, fingers crossed, along with some guidance documents and things. Municipal boundaries is another data set that I'm pretty excited about as well. Recently, CGIA has gone through a pretty big initiative with OSBM and the North Carolina Census staff to work through an initiative to work with local governments, having them upload their current municipal boundary areas, all of their annexations, de-annexations, things of that nature into one large data set, as well as develop a method for them to be able to report any new changes in the future. So any of the ones that are currently happening, and then as we move forward, a method for them to continue to update those as we go. So the goal being that we will have one large statewide municipal boundaries layer that is updated as much as possible. So either as we go or at least once a year, as they need to do some reporting to the US Census. So the next data set, or the next project that I'll talk about, is the 2022 reference frame. Currently, there is a datum working group that's actively meeting, and they're trying to help folks kind of work through this new datum change and this update. So if you all are interested in maybe joining that work group or would like some more information about that, do add your name and contact information into the chat window. And that goes for really any of these initiatives that you're seeing on the screen now. Let me know which ones that you're interested in, and I will get you looped into those working groups and make sure that you know when their next meeting is. The last one that I'll talk about is land cover. Currently, NOAA is working through the CCAP program to finalize a new statewide land cover data set. And this one is another kind of exciting one for me. They are moving from a 30-meter coverage to a 1-meter coverage. So there will be significantly more detail in the data set. Right now, they are in the testing phase, or they're starting the testing phase. That will, I believe they just pushed it back to start that in the fall, so they're a little bit more prepared. And then I believe they're aiming for a final data set likely in maybe mid-2027. So looking at all of these various initiatives and possible data that may be available, your next question is, where do we find all of this? So hopefully some of you guys are familiar with NC OneMap. This is our platform where we are hosting and also sharing data that other agencies host all in one place to help kind of bring it all together so that folks have kind of one place to start. You can use this site to either go find direct data downloads, you can browse the data by themes, and then you can also continue scrolling down this homepage to find more information about any of our statewide data initiatives. And then we have some showcases down at the bottom, and this is kind of looking at it by agency. So each agency has selected a couple of applications or data to kind of showcase, and have pulled some story maps together. And then of course, you can just search by terms if you'd like. So real quickly, I will kind of wanted to show you all kind of some screenshots of how you can get to the actual data itself, because there have been some changes to this website recently. And so there are a few things that are a little bit hidden and can kind of trip people up when they're going to get the data. So the first thing you're going to want to do is either on that search bar on the home page, or once you have already started searching, you can go to the top and search for any particular term. I do want to point out that you can also search or you can filter down by just the data. So if you're just looking for the data, you don't want to end up seeing any of these documentations or final maps and applications, you can do that. And then further down, one thing that we do want to point out is that you can search by agency. So all of our state agencies can connect into NC OneMap and share their hosted data through NC OneMap. So they may have a data portal themselves, but then they also can share it this way so that we're all sharing the same data and it's all updated at the same time. So if you know that DOT has got the data set you're looking for, you can select that source. So once you have found your item that you want and you select it, you come to this page. Here you can tell who the owner is. You can filter the data if you would like to. You can find more details, so like you can access the metadata and things like that down here, or I'm sorry, in the sort of middle area. And then once you have kind of explored this page and you want to actually do something, there's this little button way down here at the bottom that says, I want to use this. And this is where most people kind of get tripped up, because this little banner down here just kind of is tucked away and kind of hides a little bit. So this is the key to what you're looking for when you want to actually go grab that data. And there's multiple ways to do that. So you can explore it in an ArcGIS online map if you would like. What I think you guys may be more interested in is maybe viewing the API resources. And we'll take a look at that here in a second. You can also get to all of the metadata. You can open it up, the item detail page in ArcGIS Online. But if we are looking at how you can get to some of those API resources, once you click on that button, you have a couple of different options depending on the data source itself. So if you did go through and you filtered some of this data out, just looking for subsets, if you go down here and copy the GeoJSON or the filter geo services, they both have the filter parameters included in the URLs, so you can use this URL directly into whatever method you're going for your viewers. So, and then you can also grab the entire source link right here. And then the last thing on this page is there is a link to open the API Explorer. So if you're interested in doing that, there are additional options here. You can add additional filters. So if you'd rather not use the interface from the previous screen, I find this one a little bit easier to deal with. So there's other options of being able to narrow down your data set a little bit further, and then what kind of output options you're going for. So it just gives you a little bit more functionality. And then, of course, if you are looking for maybe an application to explore the data first before you dive into extracting the data out of NC OneMap, we have several web applications where you can go dig into some of those and either just go find the answer that you're looking for in the data, or you can dive into some of the attribute tables, figure out which fields you're looking for and that you want to filter on, what kind of values they have within those, any of that sort of thing. And then one of the last things that I wanted to point out was that if you are not able to find the information that you're looking for, one amazing thing that our local government committee has pulled together is this GIS Contact Explorer. So if you know that there is data that a municipality or a county owns, and you're trying to figure out what is the most updated data, most of the local government data is not hosted on NC OneMap. However, you can come to this Contact Explorer and you can zoom in, you can click on any of these areas and find out those GIS contacts so that you can reach out to them to go find that data set that you're looking for. Any of the local data that you do find on NC OneMap, just know that your authoritative data source will be coming directly from the municipalities and the counties. So if you have questions on those, to make sure to go and ask them. We unfortunately do not have a state version of this application. So if you're looking for state agency data, you can always contact us. We can help direct you to the right place, or you can contact those agencies directly if you know where to go for those. All right, and with that, before we get to questions, I do just kind of want to throw out there that if you all are looking for other ways to get involved, the committees that I was showing you earlier, either the user groups or the technical committees, they are all public, so you can go and attend any of those meetings. If you're looking to be a little bit more active, instead of just attending some of those meetings, you want to be more involved, please reach out to me. Let me know which of those committees you're interested in, or if you're not quite sure, let me know that too, and I can kind of help guide you into one of those committees if you're looking to get involved. I will say that we don't have a ton of open source GIS folks within many of these committees. So that is sort of a blind spot that I think that we are very much aware of, and we are actively looking for folks to join some of these committees that have that background, that can bring that perspective to us, let us know what's going on, so that we can make sure that we're providing the best resources that we can for the entire GIS community. And with that, if you guys have any questions, I'd love to try to answer them.
Okay, I don't see any questions in the chat. Do we have any questions online for Melanie? I mean, you can raise your hand, I think. Well, no questions. If not right now, then you've got Melanie's email and Matt's email there if you want to go ahead and send those off. And I guess we'll roll on into the next presentation with Bernie. Thank you, Melanie.
Great, thanks.
Okay, Bernie, go ahead and share.
All right, yeah, I'll turn off my video and can share real quick.
Mm-hmm. And Bernie, I could not find your bio, so you may have to do that yourself.
Oh, okay. It's not on the landing page, isn't it?
I just haven't got it handy right here. Sorry.
Okay, no problem. All right, can you see it? Is it working?
Yes, can see fine.
Yes. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Doug. My name is Bernie Drahola, and I'm the founder and CEO of YAMAPS. We're located in South Carolina, in Lake Wylie, Brook Hill area. And today I would like to show a little bit about the work we do here. We developed YAMAPS, which is a cloud-based GIS solution that's focusing on practical GIS operations for utilities, municipalities, and infrastructure teams. And today's presentation is about using YAMAPS, or for that matter, any other GIS, to cover the full asset life cycle when we talk about utilities or other infrastructure objects that we take care of. So YAMAPS is, for the most part, built on open GIS technology. So there's a lot of that under the hood. One of them, or the mapping part is open layers. We use GDAL, OGR2, OGR, GeoStyler, or GeoServer. Those are all components that are working within GIMAPS. So there's a good bit of open source in it. But what can GIMAPS do in addition to any other open geospatial technology? So it can provide practical access for non-users. So each user has an account, and data can be shared very specifically to that one user account, or it could also be a user group for that matter. That makes it easier to share data across different departments, organizations, because you don't have to download and email the data. You can share data within the GIMAPS ecosystem, or in a good bit, we'll have our API completed, and then we can just plug things into QGIS, for example. It's turning maps into operational frameworks and workflows. So it's easy to let your data flow. The vision that we have is that we bring the data to wherever it is needed the most. And one of the applications is field inspections. And that's a big part of asset management, because without the data, you have nothing. And with the GIMAPS, you can build custom applications or custom forms for inspections. And these forms, once built, also do bridge the gap between GIS professionals and operational stuff. It's very easy to use. So to the topic, how do we get from data to decisions using Cloud GIS and AI? Because the data is the most important of all the things. And in the recent years, we see a paradigm shift of how data is acquired and how we collect data and process data. It's gotten way more easier to do so. So data collection on the field is complemented by AI and image detection. Static paper maps are gone for the most part, and we do have, we all have our tablets and our smartphones that we can use to collect data on the field or take photos and have these photos analyzed by AI, if you will. But the most important stance is that we get with easier data acquisition, we get from a reactive maintenance to predictive maintenance and budgeting, and that helps a great deal. And the good news is, with all the new technology coming in and different APIs and open source projects readily available, you don't have to have a massive budget to build a functional digital twin for your asset group. One of the most one of the centerpieces of asset management is that we define the risk of each and every asset, so we can act accordingly. And the risk is usually a calculation or multiplier by condition and criticality. Each condition and criticality have usually values from 1 to 5, and if you multiply them, that gives you a risk range from nothing if you don't have any data, but then from 1 to 25, right? So keep that in mind because I'm showing some of these examples. Once you identify your assets with a risk factor, then you uncover these low confidence zones, right? They become visible, and you can act upon accordingly. So that enables you to pinpointing the action zone, and, for example, steer your inspection resources to the red zone, basically, where some action need to take place. Maybe some replacements even have to take place. And with that, you can basically differentiate between things that have to have an immediate replacement, or things that you think you might have to monitor a little bit closely, more closer than others. And you also have the low risk zones where your inspection cycle can maybe a little bit longer. I just recently talked to a water utility manager, and they're having a hard time to reassess all their valves and hydrants, just the sheer size of it, of the utility network. So prioritizing the risk, or the ones with the higher risk, is really beneficial to do your maintenance schedules. And then ultimately that leads to a better budget outcome. You no longer ask the board for generic repair budget, but you pretty much know very detailed what cost is involved in 5 years, in 10 years, or even 20 years. Asset management plans, they sometimes entail like 40 years. If you look at sewage water pumps, for example, that's one of those that really have a long time span. Let's dive into it the next 10 minutes. And some of the things is very basic, and you probably have seen it 1,000 times, so I recorded it, and that way I was able to speed it up. But I think it's good to for you guys to see, to give you a feel how things in the maps are working. So the first thing is I used some hydrants that were available on the York County webpage in South Carolina. I'm just importing that data that I downloaded as a geo package. Select the file, upload it, and then basically within a geo package you can have several layers, and then you're able to pick the layer that you want, and it picks the projection automatically. But if you want to override it, you could do that. So with that, I'm just importing a geo package real quick and easy into Maps, and it ends up right away in the data warehouse, where you can do additional things with it. All right, so that's that, and then we want to configure that layer, and for that I'm going back to, or I'm stepping into my Carolina GIS coffee break project. You can have several projects within Maps, and design them individually and customize them. So I'm going into the project settings and move down to where the layers are. And here I can just simply add that fire hydrant layer to my project, so it becomes visible, it becomes a part of the layer collection, and then we can work on it later on. I configure that layer real quick, so I can have a minimum and maximum scale, the same thing like you do in QGIS or S3GIS. And then you have your field settings, and this layer comes with a bunch of columns, too many to have them all displayed or worked with. So I'm fast forwarding here, and then just picking the columns that are of interest for my asset management work or for my inspection work. And those are things like the name or the location, the facility ID, the install date, and all that good stuff. So I can pre-select which columns are shown in the table, or when I'm clicking on an object, and preset everything. And then I'll do the same for the style. In this case, I'm styling doing a categorized style with the flow color, meaning the colors represent the flow pressure in each of the hydrants. And you see me just doing that like in super quick time. I also had the label field so we can see the facility ID when we zoom into the map. All right, let's just take a look at the map. And we will see these hydrant points. Just move them all the way up with the different colors in the location that I have chosen for my demo. All right. Next, we're gonna design an inspection form. So we want to be able to perform a hydrant inspection. And for that, I'm going back into the layer settings, and within the layer settings, I have all the fields for my main table, but I can also create a new table or several new tables, which then translate into an inspection form. In this case, I just name it hydrant inspection for MCF, that's the neighborhood. And then I can add whatever input fields that I can come up with. It could be staff, it could be the date of the inspection, and various other things that come into mind. But for now, I just want to focus on the painting and clearance around the hydrant, so there's no brush or any debris or anything. So when it's needed, everybody can access it. Really nice. Now, just do a simple pass and fail test. So given it the attributes, I also can come back and change the field names into alias names with a little bit more description, and I can also preset whatever I want to have filled in when I'm creating a new inspection, so I don't have to type it over and over. Most of the things are the same anyways. So in going back into my hydrant data set, I'll just click on the hydrant, and now my hydrant inspection form appears, and then I can pre-fill or fill in the data, whatever I see in the field. And we see there's some paint conditions that will fail, or I can have multiple inspections at the same time. But the idea is that you have an overview once you select your hydrant. You see what has been happened, what inspections have been taken place in the past. All right. So what happens if I do an inspection and that triggers a work order? For example, I want to the paint test fails and the hydrant needs more paint, and for that we have a task management app, if you will. And within these task managements or work order management, you can have different workspaces. One of them is water utilities. And as you can see, there's workspace, task group, and name of the task. So you can preset everything. It's a hierarchical order. And I think we're just adding a new object type hydrant to it, and then we'll add some task templates. And this first one is the painting hydrant, and I can assign it if this is for a specific crew member or a group team. And I can just assign it and have a supervisor CC'd, give the duration and the date and all that information that's needed. And I do the same for clear the area around the hydrant. That would be my other task template that I'm going to use. And then once I'm going back to the map, again, same like with the inspection, I can also trigger a task and create a new task and just click my way through it. So I have pre-configured everything, and I go into maintenance and just pick the paint hydrant template, and it's already pre-filling everything. All I have to do is just adding the date, maybe some comment. I could upload an image to it as well. And in fact, I'm going back and just, I think want to add this, or clearing the hydrant. Yeah, that's the second one. It's very simple. Picking the date, information, could add some description. I'm just fast forwarding a little bit. And I also added an image to it. We got a nice image of that hydrant. And now if the one that receives it, well, obviously there's a notification going out to the one that's assigned to the task. But within the task management, there's also a little chat tool where you can also ask more questions, get some detailed answers, or drag and drop some files with some specifications. Might be about the color of the paint and whatnot. All right, so next I want to show, and Doug, you just wave me down if I'm running too much over time, but this is interesting. So so here are my hydrants, and I added a few more that failed the painting test. And what's really nice here in EMAPS is that you can create your own agents, right? And I just opened the hydrant inspection, for example. And there's different templates that you can pick from, and based on what you want to do, it creates a prompt for you. But you can also do a custom prompt that basically builds the agent. You can also add additional files. It could be an Excel sheet with the paint type or anything else, so you can ask that and query that. And then you pick your layers that you want to have for that agent, available for that agent. And then there's different tools that each of these agents can have, like knowing about the layer scheme, select the data, compare layers, or create a PDF chart, or other things. This is designed in a rec type of development, so the data never leaves and doesn't go into the LLM directly. LLM only provides us with the technical workarounds. How do I query the data? How do I build a chart, or how do I generate a PDF? That's all. So you can build your different agents. It could be a replacement cost calculator, data analyst, or hydrant inspection. I'm just going back and do use maybe my hydrant inspection, and then I did this before, so I want to ask it, select hydrants with failed, typo in there, paint inspections in 2026, and I just let that run, and it crawls through the data and looks not only at the attribute data of the table, but also through all the inspection tables, so it knows what happened and can figure out hopefully which of these hydrants didn't pass the test. And we got 3 detected here, right? 1, 2, 3. If I zoom out, you will see them a little bit better. So I got my hydrant inspections ready. These I need to paint, obviously. And now I can use for example, the routing tool, and just maybe start here, and then my journey over there. And I include these 3 points with the facility ID, and just run that. I'm getting a optimized route where I can have my hydrants one by one. So if I click here, this gives me access to the data, and obviously the inspection and the task, and I can open that task and sign off after it's painted, or add additional things if I detect more things that need to be done. And then I can go back and just go to the next one. And each of those has a Google link. So if you have that on your tablet, you can use that. It takes you from one hydrant to the next, to the next, to the next. So you don't have to worry about looking onto your map and figuring out where to get to the next one. You can always save that. And if you clear everything and you come back here, you just open that route, apply it, and you can continue working on your inspection. Other things, let's just go back to the agents and do one more, and then I'm probably over time already. I'm doing the data analyst, or just for show. So I was saying create a chart that shows the different risk factors values on X and the amount of hydrants per risk factor on the Y-axis. Show the risk factors, and it gives me the summation. And now I could say, okay, create a PDF of the chart, and that should generate a PDF that we can download. You can also generate lists of these inspections, and have it exported as Excel, for example. Here's my PDF, and it just created a PDF of that chart that I can send to someone else. And yeah, that's just scratching the surface. We can do maybe select some of these and also go into the table and say I have the condition here assigned to it, and maybe I want to change that and fill in the condition with a manual input and just make that a 3. It's basically a batch editing of that table, and that reflects obviously then in our chart. If we run that again, we'll see a different result. So this how yeah, I'm through, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm through. There's much more that I could show, especially the AI stuff is really fascinating because it enables you to analyze the data in a good way. And you can do that by specializing these agents to your liking, and then get the extract out of your data that helps you formulating your asset management plan down the road. Yeah. Thanks. If you got any questions, let me know.
Thank you, Bernie. Appreciate that. I'm going to, in the interest of time, I've been doing GIS for 30 some odd years or more, and working for the government for a while, but now I'm going to go ahead and just do this presentation on plugins in QGIS. So let me share my screen. Let's see. Come on, screen 1, or is it screen 2? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Start the presentation. All right, we're talking about QGIS plugins. What are plugins? They're just software functions or commands. It's not installed with the main install of QGIS, but they're made by third parties in the community or even commercial parties to be used with QGIS with minimal user effort to install or manage. Okay, some of the functions you get from these plugins is you can do data extraction, vector processing. There are multiple AI plugins available. You can do raster analysis. You can do data conversion, urban modeling, web map creation, a lot of options there. And you can also do modeling and model prep. And then there are also people who do data service connections. Some local and national governments have their data service connections set up as a plugin. I just saw Nimbo's Earth-based maps this morning, and I thought it was a catchy name. Plugin architecture, well, it's all Python. It's going. QGIS is moving from Qt5 to Qt6, with going from 3.4.4 to the 4 series. And the 3.4.4 plugins have Qt5. The QGIS-4 ones use Qt6. So your old plugins won't work with QGIS 4 and above. QGIS 4.2 puts the plugins in a different folder, so you can't just transparently migrate from 3.4.4 to 4.2 and have your plugins go. You've got to reinstall your plugins. As far as I could tell, I just installed 4.2 this morning. And the plugins are installed on your client computer's user profile. So it doesn't require administrative access to install, but if you have software that's called by the plugin, that may need to be installed with admin access. All right, our requirements, just to give you a background on how these things are done in the main QGIS repo, you have to have documentation, metadata about where things are, source code wise. They have to have an English description. Plugin license has to be compatible with GPL v2 or later. So any plugin that you see in the QGIS main plugin repository, you should be able to get the source code for. You have to state clearly if there's an external program that it needs or library. Like some of the Python libraries may not be included with the standard QGIS install. You may have to install other ones. It has to tell you that, or should tell you that. And the binaries cannot be uploaded directly from the creator. So there's I have the web page at the bottom there for publishing. Now this is kind of leads into security. There is a review process for inclusion in the main repo. The source code is only accepted from accredited locations like GitHub, and I'm blanking on some of the other Git areas. Source code is, as it's uploaded, is automatically scanned for malware with every version change. And there seems to be more updates going in for 4.2x. I just spotted that this morning. The source code is compiled to bytecode on the QGIS service locally. So the only thing that can be grabbed from that accredited location is the source code. So there's no zip files, there's no EXEs that are being pulled from the GitHub site. Now you can have other repositories that can be registered to be hit from by QGIS. Say if you have a commercial plugin from like the Slayer plugin from Northrop or some plugins from Auslandia, you can set those up as a separate repository and it will check both repositories at the same time. Or you as an organization can create your own plugin server and have the QGIS machines in your organizations look at that for any local updated plugins that you create. This just is a quick thing about profiles. So each user on a system has a profile from their system. QGIS also has profiles that you can set up different user profiles, and you can have multiple profiles, and each profile will have a unique list of plugins with it. And as you can see at the bottom here, this is on my Linux system, and you can see where the actual plugins are stored way down in the .local directory on the Linux system, down this plugins directory, and then each plugin has its own folder that it resides in. It's been about 3 or 4 years since I've had to do this, but sometimes a plugin misbehaves and you want to get rid of it. Well, you just go to that plugin directory and delete the folder that has that plugin, and it's gone. All right, updates. If it's in a repository and updates occur, whenever you open QGIS by default, it's going to hit the repos and check to see if there are any updates, and it will inform you of that. This is with 4.0, and it gives you 2 options here to click on here to install updates here, or you can go up here, and it takes you to the install updates portion of the plugin management. All right, and you can also use a lot of the plugins that are installed directly in the QGIS graphical model and the command line interface that comes with QGIS, so that you can be scripting with them. So once you get that plugin in there, it sort of advertises it to the command infrastructure within QGIS, so it's available for doing things other ways besides directly from the desktop. So I've got a little bit of time, so let's go to some demo time, and let me pull up. Here we go. Here's a profile called Demo that I created, and you can see that we've got OpenStreetMap for, let's zoom into Hillsboro here, and I say, ooh, I would really like some satellite imagery on here. Well, what kind of plugins do we have out there to do that? So we just go and do a search in the bar here, and it should be Quick Web Viewer. Is that it? No, that's probably not it. Well, it might be. No, that's not the right one. I'm sorry. I was looking for a different quick one. Quick, you know what? Next, GIS, quick map services. Okay. So we'll put that one in there. And close. And when that is in there, then you just go up to your web and go to quick map services. And then I could go down here to say Google. And let's look at the Google satellite for this area. So we uncheck the OpenStreetMap, and you've got Google satellite. And as you'll notice, you've got several options here. These are all hitting the public endpoints to them. You can do all this National Geographic from Esri, and it doesn't like you to zoom in that far. So now you get out here and you can see the National Geographic extension of the Esri thing. These are all copyrighted things, so you have to be obey the terms of use for each one of them. But it makes it quite easy, especially with the Google Satellite now that the desktop client for Google Earth is going away. You can use QGIS to pull in the satellite imagery, and then you can work with the KMLs directly in QGIS as well, both reading them, editing them, and converting your data into KMLs if you want to for other reasons. So another one you might want to get would be the OpenStreetMap downloader. So let's go to plugins and manage install plugins. And we go to OSM. And there's a couple of them out there. OSM downloader is one I think I've used in the past. Close that. And now I've got to find that. Some of them come up here and live under there. Where is it? Oh, there's download right there. You just click a triangle and say a rectangle, and click on that and save the file. I'm going to put it just in my documents and call it OSM demo and save it and say OK. And that should pop it in and populate it on the map. Well, maybe it doesn't populate it on the map. What fun. So now I just go to my home and documents and see if we can find the OSM demo file. And didn't see it. Well, that didn't work as well. Ah, here we go. So grab your lines. Grab your multi-line strings and points. And I'll pop that in there and use it as if it were any other vector layer, or you could just export it out and throw them into all into a geo package together. So, oh, we've got a question. Okay, let me pop that up. Any idea whether the new 4X series has or will have a standalone portable version, self-contained settings? I don't know yet, as I haven't been using Windows for a year now. So that would be something that the Windows users could probably answer for you. The portable GIS project, I think, is still ongoing. So my guess would be that there probably will be a version that you could run off a USB stick for 4.0. And that might give you the options for that. I'd have to look. 4.2, I think, is what you might want to look at to see exactly where they're going to be putting the profiles and where things are going to be sitting as far as on Windows. Do you have any other questions? Okay. If not, I think I'm going to stop the presenting, stop sharing, get this back over here, and put my camera on. There were any questions for Bernie on his presentation? Sorry, we got a little bit over on the start, so we're running a little bit later beyond that. We do plan on having another one next month, and we will send out an announcement about that as soon as we've got our schedule going. And I think that's about it. Bernie, Jay, do you have anything else that you guys would like to contribute?
I don't at the moment. We're planning on an in-person event still in fall. And then the next one we'll see maybe in August. But I'm glad you mentioned the OpenStreetMap download, because for asset management, that really opens up a can of opportunities. In the sense I just recently did an asset management plan for sewage pumps, and the vicinity to creeks, streams, rivers, ponds, and lakes was really crucial for that. And I used OpenStreetMap data for that, because there was more current and up to date actually than the data in that county. So I'm glad to mention that. It's a good data source.
Yeah, the OpenStreetMap folks who do those volunteers do a lot of work, and especially I would like to call out the HOT group, does the humanitarian OpenStreetMap team, which works on things like the earthquake in Venezuela. They go in and immediately start mapping what roads are clear, and it's a volunteer effort. And if any of you are interested in helping out that way, then I urge you to go to the OpenStreetMap website and find out where the humanitarian team is registered, and just volunteer. There's always a need. So if there's nothing else that we need to go over, then I think we're going to call it for today. And see you guys next month, hopefully.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining. Have a good day.